Good evening, and thank you all for joining us today. And yes, we are back with the ninth episode from SamosaChai.net series. But before I hand over the floor to our host, Vivek and Nish, I would quickly read out the code of conduct. You all pretty much know about it. We are all here to learn together. So please be respectful of other people's views. Uh, please be polite. Keep asking questions. Nish and Vivek will take those questions and enjoy the session. With this, I would like to hand over the floor to Vivek to begin the session. Over to you, Vivek.
Hey, thanks, Rashmita. Hey, Nish, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm trying to see how we can come onto the screen. Yeah, there it is.
I
Trying to
just
find those
grabbed you.
little keys out there. Hello, everybody. How's everyone doing? Fantastic. How many modules did we do already, Vivek? Like Samosa Chai?
This is fifth microservice episode.
Right.
I
And
think
then we did three before
fifth
that, I
one.
think, right? Yeah.
Yeah, three to four before that.
Yeah.
One was .NET 6, and the other
Right.
was getting started
Blazor
with
and
.NET
Maui, I
for
think.
me, Blazor and Maui. So it
Yeah.
was four, and then and then microservice. This is almost the fifth episode. Interesting one.
Yeah, exactly. It's been an amazing journey so far. Enjoying some samosas and chai regularly. So what's changing, Vivek? Are we going to change something in the future?
Yep. You know what I did yesterday?
What did you do?
Check this out. Check this out.
That's a
You
real
know,
microphone in your hands.
yeah, I literally had mic in my hand after 2 years,
Hmm.
2.5 years, maybe. Not this one, the real one.
Oh,
the ones, the
yeah.
one which, the one which all speakers are allowed to have in their hands. And yeah, I was testing all the screen and how is it?
So you went
How is
to
everything?
which is this place? Like
React.
I see this picture with. Oh, okay. This is the Microsoft
This
Reactor.
is Microsoft Reactor Bangalore, and I have a
Okay.
couple of more pictures, but I didn't put it here. But yeah,
Mm.
you can guess what's coming up, right? You can
Yeah,
guess.
I'm excited. Like if we can start hosting some real events, like in-person events, and it would be fun to have interactions like that. So those who are joining us, on the stream, let us know. Like would you like to have some in-person events? I'm pretty sure that we want to do even the live stream as well. Like it's not going to be just in person, but yeah, would you like to see those? Would you come? To our offices, and maybe Vivek will have some samosas and chai for all of us, for sure, right? And
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
it would be a fun.
definitely. I mean, it's yeah. You can also let us know which samosas you want. Like,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
there are various
So
types of
yeah,
samosas right now, right? Hmm.
so you can let us know in the chat for sure. You know, how about doing in-person events? And would you like to join us there? And definitely, it will be fun. Cool. Moving on. So, what I've been doing. So, recap. So, what did we learn in microservice episodes? So, we did learn about what is microservices are, and we went through the tools which are required. That is the Docker hubs, and we in fact deployed it on the Kubernetes. We got introduced to Kubernetes and other things, and then we picked up a amazing E3 and sorry eShop on
Yeah,
containers, eh?
yeah.
eShop on containers as one of the example microservice example. So we added coupons. We did resiliency. We did check whether how is this resilient and other things, and we did couple
We
of
also chatted with amazing community people last time, right?
oh
Uh,
yes.
though we were starting with resiliency, and then we realized we were completing 20 years of .NET, and we brought in
Mm.
some really amazing people before we chatted about resiliency. So that's the informal side of the samosa chai. We want to keep it like have a casual chat. So bring your samosa, bring your chai, and just generally chat with us. So because we are online, feel free to drop in those questions or anything that you want to chat with us. We bring that up, and then we speak about that too. right? So yeah, we did some really amazing sessions previously. We talked about microservices in general, talked about tooling supports and things like that, and we talked about resiliency. Again, I think we are going slowly into these areas which are key factors in terms of infrastructures and things like that when you're especially in your cloud, and where you want to make sure that how do you protect your applications from failures and things like that. So we spoke about that. Now we are slowly getting into the into configuration management, which is what this episode is all about, right?
Yes, and this is all about code.
Hmm.
And by the way, in this series, we have been talking about the Cloud Skill Challenge, and this is the link, and this is the QR code. There's 50 days left to complete. Take it slowly, and I will show you. I have completed 6 modules out
Wow.
of the 9 modules which we have. So I've executed all of these 6 modules, and I'm going to execute rest of them as well because we have 50 days. I still have time to complete this. You too can take up that challenge and execute all of these modules. And pretty much I'm learning so many stuff while executing all these modules, right? So it's kind of a, what I believe in cloud skill challenges is kind of you challenging yourself to go and complete, to learn something new. So, and that's what cloud skill challenge is all about. So take a look at it, and we are going to execute one of the modules which is part of this cloud skill challenge. So that's what we're going to we have been doing in the previous sessions as well, and we're going to make sure that we do execute rest of the modules as well in coming episodes. But yeah, it's your time to execute as well. So one other thing, so Nish, you have
Hmm.
been running this survey, so you want
Yeah.
to talk about this survey?
Yeah, so this is for it's a very few simple questions that we're trying to understand from people. You don't have to be a .NET developer; it could be anybody who has been creating microservices in their everyday lives. Please let us know. What we're trying to do is we're trying to understand what are the usual developer pain points and how can we kind of like help in terms of tooling and things like that. So there are a few questionnaires there. You can be anonymous and respond there. So go ahead, and if you are someone who is interested and excited in microservices and you've been working on it from past few months, you know that, I mean, there are definitely there's pain points out there. I mean, we all know that, like, because there's enormous amount of technology choices there, and to make those decisions and things like that, and then debugging them is a harder challenge. And so yeah, go ahead and let us know what all you think. So this is just a simple survey that we're running. So yeah, drop in there, help us help you.
Yep. So let's move ahead today. What we are learning, Nish.
Yeah.
Definitely, I'm going to learn today. This
Hmm.
is super .NET focused, so I'm going to learn a lot of stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
Yanish, go
We're
ahead.
going to test. We're going to test Vivek how good of a developer he is, because we need to do a lot of copy pasting, and if he doesn't do the right set of code, if he misses semicolon, he pastes in a wrong line, he's going to go wrong and he's going to fail. So we're going to test him. So this is the Vivek skills challenge. Uh, so we're going to test him. So basically, what we're trying to learn here is, we're going to understand configuration management. So one of the things about 12 factor app that talks about is, like, separate your configuration from code. And so we will look at some real world scenarios, like how do we do that. And while doing so, we'll also look at Kubernetes configurations, like, I mean, it's kind of like maybe new to a lot of people, it's maybe confusing, so we'll look at a practical way to do this. And then we'll also look at the feature management library. Feature management is a very simple, I mean, it's one of the simplest modules, this one is. It's simply like toggling the features. So if you want to enable a feature to a set of users, or set of geographical locations, or depending on your choice, you can toggle those things from your backend, and your app code will reflect those changes dynamically. So we're going to look at that. And also we look at the Azure App Configuration Store, which is the cloud offering for configuration management. So we look at all of these things, and it's a fun little module. It's a very straightforward. So that's one of the reasons why we probably won't spend too much time on the slides, wherein we'll give enough time for Vivek to execute this on his laptop, right? Hmm.
So that's the link as well. Server link, somebody asked. So I've just
Yeah.
posted the link as well. Cool. So this is where the eShop on containers is. So we have this is what we have been using in previous sessions as well. This is where we are buying all those .NET hoodies and other things virtually. Obviously, we are not getting it, in person. By
With
the way,
bitcoins.
yeah, with bitcoins and whatnot,
We're
NFT.
just
What
totally
are
kidding. We're totally kidding. We're totally kidding. So it's just a sample app. You can actually see it working, but nothing gets shipped. But it's an interesting app to kind of like look at and implement it for yourself. So yeah, it's complex in certain ways, but it's also not very what do you say? It's not something which you'll see in real world, but it's something close to that. So you can take a look at how it is implemented, right? Um,
yeah? So
yeah. So
go ahead, Nish.
yeah, so basically the architecture is very simple. I'm just recapping this if you're joining for the first time, because we have been doing this for quite some time now. It's just microservices. There are multiple services that's working with each other. If you look at, there are databases separate. Each service has its own database. They communicate with each other on an asynchronous protocols and synchronous sometimes too. And the outside world gets into this cluster through an API gateway, and also there's a backend for front end implementations there. So very straightforward, but all these things are may not be so relevant for today's session, because we are going to look at a very small area in this, which is the configuration management, and we will look at it from the web spa side of things. So we can literally see how you can enable a feature or disable a feature for the end user from the backend, and that reflection will happen on the UI. So web spa is nothing but single page applications built on Angular. I'm not an Angular person, so I won't be able to go in depth into Angulars, but we will definitely touch upon a few things of how do we toggle things and what library support we have there, right? So those also will be covered today.
Cool.
So what else, Vivek?
So let's go deep dive, and
Okay.
you teach me all of this stuff. Let me do
Yeah.
it hands on. Let me go and share.
So we're gonna do this hands-on. So this is the way to execute this module. So maybe this is again part of the Cloud Skill Challenge we shared earlier. The module there is the feature flag module. So you can click on that and you can get to this very easily. First thing that we generally do in these modules is like set up the environment for you. So what you see here is basically a simple magical script that you need to paste it into your Cloud Shell. So again, if you're joining for us for the first time, we don't use any dev environments, like we don't have dev boxes, we don't have installations locally. We run everything inside the browser using Cloud Shell, because we have scripted all these modules so that it just becomes easy to work with. So I'm pretty sure Vivek would already run the setup. So that means there is like once you run those setup, it will generate some URLs. Maybe you can do a cat yeah, deployment URLs. Yeah.
Yeah.
So these are the URL. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead. Explain if you want to.
Yeah. So this is the link. So basically, this is where the application is, and this is more of a status, which is health check. So we did a session as well on this health check, and we have a deep dive session as well from the monitoring and other things as well on this. So this is
Yeah.
a health check. Let me increase so that you can see what's there. And this is sec. So basically logs, all the logs, what
Yeah.
gets generated here. So we have just run that magic script, and we have all this setup ready. So what does it do? So it does bunch of things. These are the things it does. So it installs .NET and set up your Azure Kubernetes service, Azure Container Registry, and make sure it launches Cloud Shell Editor, which is this one, which we have. So this is where the code base. This is nothing but a VS Code in the within the Cloud Shell, and then you're just you do have rest of the connections and containers fully up and running, and everything is running in Kubernetes as of now. So this is the shop. So by the way,
Yeah.
so if I have to go and show you, then I'll remove this off. I was testing something, so let me remove this. One, right? So we are
Yeah.
here, catalog, and I can log in, and we can see this. There's a user, there is a password. Now, anybody who wants hoodie, let me know. Uh, anyone who wants, what does audience want? Hoodie,
Yeah.
mugs. What do you
So
want,
a
Nish?
simple e-commerce app. Yeah. Maybe cup of tea, since we are talking about samosa
Yeah.
chai.
So we
So
have these three things,
yeah.
and it's here in my bag. So I go to the
So
bag and check out.
have you wants a cat? Do we have cat? Okay.
No,
Anyway, so so there you go. So we have some coupons, and what you see there, that coupon number and apply. These are some things which we implemented in the previous modules where we enable coupon service and enable coupon. So what you see here, so click on that. So you see available coupons. That's another page that basically opens up, and it's a MVC page basically. It's an eraser page where it all spits out all the coupons in the from the database into UI, and you can actually copy any of these codes and then paste it into into the previous screen, and then that will give you the coupon will be applied to that particular order, right? So go back to that screen once again. Yeah, and so that's where
should I
you'll
apply?
paste it, and then yeah,
Should I apply one?
you could. Yeah,
Should
yeah.
I place
So there
order?
you go. Yeah, you can. Go
Yep.
ahead. So
Placing order. You can see the
yeah,
status.
yeah. So it just goes and submits, and it's just a lot of mock services behind the scenes, kind of like pushing a state of the order to, like, from submitter to probably to checking the order, and then placing the order, completing the payment, and then eventually kind of like shipping, right? Or it goes into status called paid. So anyway, I think it's just a simple thing. What we're trying to do here is, if you look at the coupon service, that's something which we implemented previously. And what if we want to enable this in dynamically, right? We want to enable coupon, maybe when we want to enable it. We don't want to enable the coupon for certain scenarios. For example, it could be for certain users, it could be for certain geolocations. But in this module, what we're going to do is we're going to enable and disable. We'll show you how to do that using the configuration management behind the scenes and the feature management. That's what we're going to do. So you'll see this particular area in the UI being enabled and disabled by toggling the feature behind the scenes. And we'll go from scratch, like we'll go from implementing that from a feature management library, and seeing how you take that code and configuration, like enable and disabling from the configuration side, and then eventually we'll go with the centralized configuration, because obviously when you have microservices, you will have multiple services working with each other. So you can't have configuration with against one box. You will need to have a configuration centrally located, so that all these pods basically, or all these multiple scales of your apps are able to access from a single configuration point, right? So we look at those things as well. Yeah.
So
So
basically, this service can be enabled and disabled,
mhm,
geo via GeoWise, or probably for a particular user and all those things. So that's what
yeah,
we are trying to implement.
yeah,
Perfect. So let's me go back to this module. So we are in Unit 1 or Unit
yeah.
2 basically, and then we will just introduce a couple of concepts which you just explained, right? So these are the concepts which we are digging into, right? So Nish.
Yeah, that's true. So we'll look at ASP.NET Core configuration. Basically, as you see that we have in ASP.NET Core, we have a configuration provider. So it can start with a basic JSON file like app-settings.json, where you will have the configurations written, and then they're all in that order basically. So if you have app-settings.environment.json, so if you have app-settings.development.json, then that setting will be overridden there. And similarly, if you have something in the user secrets, that will be overridden there, and environmental variables and command line. So they are in that order. And also, you can also configure it, like how you're going to configure it as well. Even those ways, the precedence will change as well. But this is the primary order in which the configuration will be driven in the ASP.NET Core app, right? So, for example, if you have use feature management as a key, they are all key value pairs, nothing but, right? So just like how you write JSONs. So if you have a key like use feature management to say true or false, and you write it in app settings.json, but if you override it in development.json, so if your environment variable, so for example, if your if your setting is set to development while running it, it will take that particular configuration. But I think the important thing to know here is, because we are going to work with configurations with Kubernetes, and the way Kubernetes does is using the config maps, and that's what you see there below. So this is again, it's just in Kubernetes, they are all YAML files. So it's again key values, but they're written this way. And whatever you see under the data, you can see that ASP.core underscore environment, that's the key, and then there's the value, which is Docker. And similarly, you write those keys and values. So when they are run, basically they are run into the environment variable. So they become the environment variable. So as you see from the ASP.NET Core, it will automatically pick it up because they are part of the environment variable. And you can successfully, whatever you write here, you can write it in your code to get write the key in the code, and you'll get the value from these things. So whenever you write it in config map, it will be overridden. It will not. So if you look at the precedence of that, environment variable is last but one before the command line. So this will be the order in which it's going to take, right? So we look at that, like how do we write it in a config map and see it reflect in the code, and
Got it.
then yeah.
So one of the question I had was, so basically this is a precedency, right? So
Mhm.
basically
Yeah.
if I have environment variable set and this will
Mhm.
not be executed, it will take the environment variables, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
It yeah, that's a straightforward way, right? I mean, any apps for that matter, like if it's a Node.js, Java, everything relies on this environment variable. That's how Kubernetes kind of communicates with your app. So you set up the environment, you set up in the config map, and they reflect in the environment variable, and then that's environment variable can be picked up and used by your code, right? And for now, we can show how to do this using config map in Kubernetes. Although it's not a preferred method of doing it, although there is an option to do it, but I think in reality you would want to store it in a centralized configuration, not just within Kubernetes. And centralized configuration will help you kind of like you can have multiple Kubernetes clusters. Maybe your apps are running in different Kubernetes, maybe different vendor support, who knows. All right. Or so you can have a centralized configuration to run that. Like you can have maybe a Azure serverless functions or something like that running it. So they all can rely in a single configuration place, and that's where the Azure App Configuration comes into play. And technically, it's a fully managed service, though they also encrypt key values. You can also write the code to have the encryption enabled at the rest and as well as in the transit. So you have those advantages. Basically, nothing but it is also implementing an I configuration interface. So you have the libraries in .NET too. So if you just directly use that library, you're all set, basically. So for your app, it will look like it is trying to look at the key and it is trying to get the value. But behind the hoods, it is basically connecting to a centralized database, in this case, Azure App Configuration, to get the configuration and update it, right? And Azure App Configuration also has various ways to reflect the change to your app. It could be using the polling mechanism, where your app will frequently poll and see what the configuration has changed, or it can use something like using Azure Service Bus. You can implement a push mechanism. So whenever something changes behind the scenes, a push would be made, and those who are subscribed to that will eventually get those updates quicker. So you can implement it again. You have those advantages when you use centralized configuration systems. And
So
talking
for
about
this
feature map.
particular,
Mhm.
so for this particular, learn module, we are using push, not
No,
sorry,
polling,
polling.
yes, yeah, by default,
Okay.
yeah, whatever it comes. Yeah, we don't configure much with that, but if you want to, we can go ahead and do that too. Um, then the thing that we are doing is the feature management library. Again, that's a very specific .NET library. It's nothing but it is just a toggling, like if this feature exists, then do this. It's like an if else kind of a thing, but it's implemented much more neatly. And that's something which you can implement it even without Azure App Configuration. So if you want to enable feature management by various different means, you can enable that. I think that we're going to look at that too, like how config map can be driven by to enable a particular feature and things like that, right? And yeah, so the way we integrate Azure App Configuration is by using this. ASP.NET has this nice setting of dependency injection where you can register for these things and then finally use them in your code. So this is how we will use it. Basically, .configure app configuration. So as long as you add that library, and then you will have that extension method called configure app configuration, and then you put in those details. So in this case, you can see that all that we're knowing from there is where does it connect to, right? So if you look at appconfig.endpoint, so that URL is all that we need, and it'll automatically configure your basically the configuration provider will be configured that way. So I think I have a question from Mithun. I'll just take that. Does Azure App Configuration have some local emulator? I'm not sure, Mithun. I think we can probably take a look at the their documentation. At least I'm not aware of it, but they're just if you look at Azure App Configuration, it's just a implementation of iConfiguration. So it's I don't think we do have an emulator. I'm not sure. I may be wrong here, but yeah, I think we can take a look at the docs link and see if there is anything of that sort.
Yeah, even I'm not sure on that.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so basically that code is just looking at the URL. So that key, all that you need, that is what is going to come in from your configuration, and then it'll rest of the key value pairs will come from your Azure App Configuration. And we are also enabling feature flags there. And yeah. So Mithun says he'll dig it into the docs. Thanks. So from the web spa, again, we're using Angular, so some TypeScripts there. So if you look at that, feature dev staff feature flag, it's all about enabling and disabling based on the coupon. So the key value that we're looking at is coupons, and we're looking at the value for enable true or false. And based on that, we are actually toggling this in the UI. When Vivek was showing the eShop on containers, when we reached coupon, we also saw one more UI, which is the display all the coupon codes. That's basically built on ASP.NET MVC. Basically, we built it only to show how to do Razer Pages. So we have this feature management built in within, if you look at the feature management library.asp.NET Core version of it, you have these tag helpers for you. Like you can directly write a feature and say, okay, this feature, this is what I want to implement. So that when it becomes enabled, that feature will be enabled for you. When it is disabled, that feature will not be even seen, right? So, so you can write those things. So this is what we do it. And behind the scenes, instead of making your web spa directly connect to Azure App Configuration, what we do is we also create an endpoint called /features. And then that particular endpoint will take care of enabling and disabling the feature based on the Azure App Configuration. So that way you're not making all your clients connect to directly with the Azure App Configuration. Again, you'll be exposing a lot of keys in the client URL. You don't need to do any of these things. As long as you're authenticated within the same URLs, internally you can connect with the Azure App Configuration. So that's what we're doing here. So it's a very straightforward and a simple implementation that we can take a look at it. Yeah. So I think these are good explanations. I think, Vivek, I think we can go ahead and start implementing these changes.
Yeah,
right?
This is just a update on the front end side, right? So,
yeah, this is just you basically subscribe to that and just say,
and this
you're
is
actually looking for that. Yeah, so ASP.NET has this nice middleware where you basically have this, it goes to the HTTP context and it tries to bake something within that thing. So what we're doing here is basically that /feature that you saw there. It is nothing but it's trying to check using the feature manager. We're going to check the Azure App Configuration, see if this is enabled. Then we set it to true or false and give the response back. And based on that, the Angular view will change its, like what it needs to show there.
Okay, perfect. So
okay, so the next thing that we're going to do, yes, let's implement the feature management.
Yes, so we have already seen this. We have already purchased whatever we want. Okay, so see available coupons. We have already done this, so all we need to do now
Yeah.
is to run this command to get
Mhm.
the feature management library installed, right?
Yeah.
So then get packet. So let us go.
So now let's see your
So
skills, your developer skills.
yeah, now that's the problem. This is a high test environment for copy paste.
Yeah, I think one thing, if you are trying the middlewares, if you're trying these modules, it's important to know that we are trying to focus on only those areas that the module focuses on, like the feature management, things like that. So we kind of like put everything inside the script to automate the rest of the things. But you feel free to go ahead and check those scripts yourself to see what all the magic that's happening behind the scenes. So here, what we're doing is we are not working with an IDE. We're working on in the browser. We're doing microservices in the browser. So what it is doing right now is we are adding a new package into the WebSpa app, so that we can. So if you look at that's just Microsoft.featuremanagement.asp.core. So we are trying to enable a feature, enable and disable a feature using this package, right? The next thing you will notice is the way we will configure this, because we are directly working in Kubernetes. Instead of going and changing in app settings or JSON and things like that, we will directly edit this in the config map. And the place where we're going to edit is in the basically in your deployment script. You will have the config map. So we are using Helm in this case. So this is the YAML. So you can see that in all those things that you see there, path base, purchase URL, identity URL. So these are the key value pairs that we write in config map. And this is where what Vivek is going to do is he's going to enable these two key value pairs. So think of it like just configurations. It says use feature management. The other one says what exactly the feature is. That's coupons. So if you see that double underscore, that's again to like if you write JSON, you will write feature management curly braces, and then you'll have coupons inside it. So it's basically a subset of that entire section. So in because some languages don't support it, we have these double underscores to denote it. But when you read them in your .NET code, you can actually write colon and then read them too, right? So, okay. So what's the next thing that you need to do, Vivek?
We have done this,
Yeah.
and this is basically if you want to do it in a JSON format.
Yeah,
That's
that's how
fine.
you write it. Yeah.
And then we go and update the startup script.
Yeah.
What do we do? The config
So we're looking
service.
for, yeah. So we're looking for that value is use feature management if it exists. If we get a value out of it, we're enabling the feature management. So you need to go into, do
So
you know where to
where
paste it?
that's the problem. so the, so startup.js it's an add feature management code.
Yeah.
Okay,
It
add
should
feature
be in the
management.
config. Yeah, there you go.
This one, correct.
Yeah. While you scroll down, can you go up and enable the namespaces too?
Yeah, this one, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
Cool.
Save
So
the
I think this
files.
is fine. This is fine. Uh, I've saved it.
Yeah.
And okay, this is nothing but we just adding that service
Yeah.
in
It's
the
in the
config
dependency
service.
injection. We are actually letting know that,
Yeah,
we will have
and
feature
also we are
management.
yep.
Yeah.
So this
This
is
is where,
also the
like,
same thing
yeah.
to map it to bind
Yeah.
which service we are trying to
So, yeah.
toggle,
So,
right? So
yeah, exactly. So if you look at this, it's basically adding this to the middleware. So if you go in there, paste that thing in the
yeah,
configure method. So there you go. Yeah. You can paste it. Yeah. Save it. And although this indentation is bothering me, but I'll let you go. So uh, if you look at that map feature management is nothing but an extension method that we are writing there. You can actually open this endpoint route builder extension.cs. Can you go into that once?
which what the extension?
Yeah. Yeah, or you don't
Yeah,
have to go. I mean, what we're saying is this one, like, we're actually looking for features as a pattern. No, go to the extensions.
extension. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
This is to
endpoint
build
route.
a router, which
Yeah. So what would you
we just
wrote
need to
in the
bring. Mhm.
yeah, in the middle where you said dot map feature management, right? So this is the extension method. So this is the expansion of that method. What it's doing is basically is looking for the pattern called features, and then um, like, so that's why when you slash features, if you do from your web spa application, this is where it will come and check, and then basically we are writing that feature management middleware. So that code is there as well. So if you want to open it, you can open that code, and it'll show how it will connect to the um, um,
Program
go
or
back on
which code?
go back onto the thing. Let me see.
This is the one we have.
Yeah. So yeah, it's basically it's a custom middleware that called feature management middleware. So that's where we implement that. Anyway, I think it should be there, but I'm trying to figure where exactly that is. But anyway, I think you can continue. I think it's just a straightforward middleware that we wrote written there.
Yep.
And now the rest of the
So
things what
this
you're doing
is
is
it's just enabling Angular, right? So in the front end.
yeah, correct.
So let me do that. It's a script basically. So
Hmm.
just modify some HTMLs. So this is the HTML modification. It's if
Yeah.
you see it is enabling through feature flags. So you're
Yeah, I'm
just
not an
giving
Angular
some
person, so maybe if you want to explain that,
yeah
you could do that.
yeah. Oh yeah, you and I'm not. So that's basically it's a just a
Yeah,
tag which you're giving.
yeah. That just enables and disables. Yeah. We
Yep.
can go and
And
implement this in the Razer pages as well. So as I said, we're implementing in two different places. We're showing one how to do it in JavaScript, like in Angular, basically TypeScript, and then the other one is how to implement the same thing in Razer pages. And the good thing about Razer pages is that we have this Microsoft.featuremanagement.asp.net Core Nuget library, which has this tag helper directly baked in, so you can directly use that. So that way it can toggle it. It's just you write it like an XML, like you're writing feature, and then you can toggle it based on that, right? So let's go and implement that. So that's in your Razer page. We go to the views,
and
and
use coupon index.cs,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So go and add the tag helper first.
Here.
Yep.
And save it.
Now you need to and now you need to write your partial um,
Yes.
renderers.
Partial renders, right?
Yeah.
So
So there you go.
it's
So that's
here.
line 49. Yes, you need to. So right now it's just rendering available coupons directly, but we don't want to render it unless this feature is enabled or not, right? So
So
we
here
are going to
it gets
replace that.
here is the tricky part. So we are replacing this whole thing with this.
Yeah, correct.
So we have to be careful when you're doing that. If you're
Yeah, make
executing
sure you
it,
replace it. Delete that 49.
that's the best way to go.
Yeah,
Correct.
control
And
V.
make it better
Yeah, if you want
because
to. Yeah,
you
yeah,
complained
it
about
bothers
it.
me a little. So yeah, so if you look at this feature, it's just if coupon negate true, that means if it is not enabled, then you display, it says you're not subscribed to this. And then if it's enabled, then basically it'll just display the coupons, right? So
Yep.
yeah, it's an interesting way to write it on your Razer pages, automatically. So you don't have to write those if else loops in Razer pages. It just you write the feature toggle there directly.
Let's build code then. Let's build the
Are you
code.
done? Did you copy everything?
Yep. Done.
Okay.
I did copy, I did paste. Yep. Save it. Everything is done. So all I need to do
Mm.
is to run this
Yeah,
script to
you
make
saved it,
sure
right?
it is. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, again, what we're doing here, we are. So you could do a .NET build. So that will just go ahead and build that WebSpar project. But we do not want to do that. Instead, we are directly building it in Azure Container Registry, because in the end, we're going to deploy this into Kubernetes cluster, and we want that as an image, because we will be using Helm to deploy it eventually. So what we're doing is we're directly using the ACR build command internally, and it is going to take this source code and build it right inside Container Registry, and then it's going to directly set up the image there, right? So the interesting thing here is, again, Vivek, I think the first time when you deploy it, we use Docker Hub. So all the images comes
Yeah.
from there, and we automatically set up the Azure container registry for you. But right now there is nothing in that container registry, so it's just going to be empty. And then we're going to install this, you're going to build this image. So that's only going to be the WebSpy image that's being built. And then we will, in the deployment, we'll say, okay, instead of picking from the Docker Hub container registry, pick it up from your local container registry, like the private like container registry. And so we set up all these things in a magic script where your AKS knows about this container registry. They're all secured in nature. So all whatever changes you made right now, it's going to be pulled from that local container registry, right?
True.
Um,
That's definitely an amazing magic script.
yeah.
So, if anybody was really interested in understanding how to build such demos and other things as well, you should go and check out the magic script.
Yeah. it's it's amazing, like it's so much of the code there. So
So we're done with this. So all we need to do is to deploy next, and
yeah.
that's it. We are all set.
So
So
yeah.
eventually, we are going to remove coupons for everyone.
So can you can you go into the go to your URL, like web spa, whichever you have right now, eShop on containers, go to
This
that
one
thing. Yeah. Yeah. Can you like type in features, instead of replace that
slash
order with features? Yeah. Yeah. So right now you see that
going
there
back.
is no endpoint, right? So that's what we're doing with
No.
the middleware, where we will,
Yes.
we are creating an endpoint called features, which the web spa application will take and look at it. So if you go back and see where it stands right now,
It's almost done.
yeah, it's I think most of the things happen. I think the delays happen only in these scripts right now, right? Otherwise, it's just straightforward modules
True.
there. And
So all we need to do is a couple of changes in the code. We just need to
mhm,
install those. Ultimately, it is the library which we have,
yeah,
and just enable those libraries and understanding of how to use that library within your code. And once you know that, I think it's just a cakewalk, right? This is a simple Docker build command and pushing it to the Kubernetes. And if you are well familiar with Kubernetes, then config map is something which we use in a daily, right? Even in our previous sessions we used config maps. So
mhm,
nothing really so big about it. It's all, I think it's pretty straightforward if you understand how to use this library.
yeah. So the feature management middleware, I found it. I wasn't sure when I was asking you where exactly that is. So it's in the infrastructure thing. So if you just bring it down and go to the infrastructure folder, go up a little bit, go to the
Oh, it's an
infrastructure.
infrastructure.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a
So
middleware.
there's middleware. Yeah. So that's the middleware that we have. So
Oh,
basically,
it's a
if you look
feature.
at it, it's taking, yeah, that invoke method is where it will do the thing that we uh, yeah, you're scrolling too fast. So there you go. That's the feature names. Looking at the query, getting a feature name, and then seeing if you see that feature manager at least enable async. That's just the query that is going to make to the Azure App Configuration. Sorry, if it is Azure App Configuration, is going to make that call. Otherwise, it's going to look at the configuration and get you back the response. Okay, so this is done. So
Cool.
you can go ahead and deploy this now.
Yep.
So you want to explain Helm, Vivek, like what exactly you're doing here? It
So we
says
are,
something called
it says,
charts.
yeah, so basically we have created charts. So Helm is a way to package each of these different services. These are the
Hmm.
services which we have. And within these
Yeah.
services, you can see there are a bunch of YAML files, which is part of the templates. Okay. So we did create these templates for coupon service, if you remember our previous session. So basically, deployment is to deploy, and these are the things which we will provide. We did talk about these liveness check and
Hmm.
health and other stuff. And then this is a config map which we discussed today as well. So there are a couple of configurations which is there, which you
Hmm.
want to be applied within this particular service, and which you're calling it in your even in deployment. If you go here, you're calling it through config mac ref, and you're calling it through coupon, and the same thing you have given as a coupon name here,
Yeah.
which is the same, right? So you're calling this, and within this specific service, and it gets applied within this specific pod and containers. In fact, we are talking about, and then there are a couple of other things like services, and the services, obviously, right, the load balancer kind of thing for the pod, how you want the pod to be accessed, and then
Hmm.
ingress, other things which we also discussed in a couple of sessions. So basically, the helm is to see, if you see here, there is bunch of services. We have almost 10 services, and all of these 10 services, each of these services have at least 4 to 2 or 3 YAML files, and if you have to individually manage it, very difficult. So that is the reason why we are using helm. And the simplest way is, like, for coupon, I can go and create a chart.yaml and add every all the YAML files within this template, and just
Hmm.
run this chart, high level, in the chart. It will all install all the charts which is part of this, um, folder, right? So it will install
Yep.
everything. So you can also mention the app version and other things which we will see in couple of sessions with GitHub Actions and other things. But that's something which we'll work on. So
Can you do a
that's
kubectl
how it.
get pods there? I think. I hope there's no issue there.
kubectl get pods.
So there's an
There's some
image
issue.
pullback off. Yeah.
Yeah.
So can you go up? Is there an issue that happened in ACR build? Um,
No. Oh yeah, I
it went
think
successful.
there was.
Was there any error
I
there?
can't. I think so. I mean, it didn't throw me this one.
It didn't.
No, it didn't. I don't think
Okay.
so. I don't remember this one. Yes, I don't see.
Yeah, we need to get that response otherwise. Yeah,
Yeah. So what we'll do is, let us try and see if, do you want to run build and see if there was any issue?
you can do that. Yeah. Uh, Vivek, are you there? Looks like we have lost him, I guess. Can you all hear me? Okay. I, I don't see Vivek there. Okay. Okay. I think, yeah, just let me know if you all can hear me so that I can continue this. Most likely there's some issue at Vivek's end. So we'll see. Okay, cool. So let's keep running. So until Vivek gets back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen and we'll set up. So unfortunately, I won't be able to start from where he left off. Instead, I have an completely done stuff, so we can go into that. So before that, let's go into the module that where we are. So this is Cloud Skill. Um, we are working on the feature flags module. So we'll go and implement a feature management library. So basically, what Vivek did, you're ideally supposed to have an endpoint done, which will have the features as an endpoint, and then that features endpoint will give enabled true or false based on what the status is. All right, let's me get Vivek on back. Are you back?
Yeah, there's some issue with my power.
Okay.
Yes. I'm just trying to reshare my screen.
Hmm.
Okay. So let me reload. Okay. I'm here. I'm getting back to my console. And
So I think Vivek, what has happened is your ACR build would have gone, it wouldn't have gone success. So you can do a .NET build and see. And yeah, I also looked at it. We should always look for success response there. And okay, there we lost him again, I guess. Are you back?
no, I'm back. I'm back.
Okay.
Okay. So let me check the status. first. Is there?
No, it won't
Did it
run
come up?
because
No, it won't run. Nah? Yeah, there was
because I
some
think
issue.
the deployment script is looking for the ACR. Can you do? You can actually easily do that. Like go to your Azure portal,
Just 1 second.
go into the resource groups. So this is how we do live things, right? We'll try to fix this link live. Um, you are stuck or what?
Yeah, my it. What happened to my keyboard?
Okay.
Keyboard is not working. So this is interesting.
Okay. So
One. Let's see. No. So, so you have the recording, right, Nish? If you want to
yeah,
show them how
no, I
exactly
think
that
it's very
works.
straightforward. I think yeah,
There's some
we
issue with my
can.
like, keyboard.
Okay. So since we only
Oh,
have
this
10 minutes
is
more, we can
no.
also
This
kind of
is the issue is with the s- this one, not the keyboard.
okay.
Okay. ASP.NET. Where do you want me to go? Source.
Yeah, and
Okay.
try going to this again source inside that. Go to the web and
Go
um,
to the web.
in web spa and then do a. I mean, you could
Oh,
have
you
done it
want me
there
to go
also.
through
Web spa and
console?
just do a yeah, just do a .NET build to just to make sure that it's all
Okay.
uh
Just go to web spa.
yeah
Okay.
SP. Yeah,
And
do a .NET
do
build there.
a .NET build.
Dot. So
So I did I do the copy paste or not correctly? 'Cause maybe
if
that
this
would
is
be an issue.
successful, yeah, um, yeah. Basically, what we're doing here is to try and make sure that we should do this like locally to understand if there is any changes that we did. Kind of like goes through it. Well, but if it doesn't, then we'll get to know here right here. Instead, what we did is we directly try to run this on ACR, and that works well if you copied and pasted it correctly. So we knew this kind of things is going to happen. That's why we initially itself we mentioned this. It depends on how good we are copy pasting this, and but I think you did all well. It could be some environment issues, like even if you keep the Cloud Shell open for too long and like it gets disconnected, there are chances for some environment variable to get reset, which we need to test it.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, that's a possibility.
That's also a possibility. Yeah. Anyway, so um,
So basically, after we do this run, all we get is all the pods running. So we just go to the you know um, we
slash
just go to
features.
this, yeah, in the checkout page we might not have the checkout, right? So it is, oh, it will be there because it is
By
true as
default,
of
that's
now.
enabled. Yeah.
Yeah, we had made sure that in the config map of Kubernetes we did give true, right?
Hmm.
So we just have to go and disable it, just say false in the config map which we had given. And then when we do that and redeploy uh,
It should get
the
enabled automatically.
app, yeah, it should be like false. So basically I should not be able to use coupons.
Hmm.
And also in the middleware you can see it is false, and when it is true here and when you refresh the page you will see it's false as well. So that's what happens if you just set this up.
Yeah, it's going to take a while, I
Hopefully,
think,
yeah, this is going to take some time.
because Azure
Anyway,
CLI does not have any of these things. So it's going to pull all the NuGet packages and then start building it from there. Uh, yeah, I think we can keep continuing, Vivek, then in that case. Go
yeah,
to the next one and
yeah, we'll just see how Azure App Configuration works here.
yeah. You can run that in the CLI, the create app config.sh. Um,
Oh, okay, I need to go and open another portal. That will be better.
you may lose some.
Now I think this is okay. I can reconnect from here. Different
Okay.
session. Yeah. So yeah. So we are here. So it goes into ESP and then it goes into source. This is where we need to run that script. So what does the script do? It creates the app configuration instance, right?
Yep.
Uh, I have to be very careful where I'm running it.
Yeah, yeah. Fine, yeah. So what this is going to do is just um, via scripted, we're actually creating a new app config. And so Vivek, while you do that, can you go to all resources there, like uh, the first tab on your screen, first tab on
Oh,
the
this
screen.
one? Oh, this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, bring this down and go to your resource groups, and let's see if your image is there or not. Is um, do you
In
know? Yeah,
the oh,
yeah.
okay.
Go to each
Let
learn AKS, and you can get to the resource group from there.
eShop.
Yeah, search for it. So get to the resource group. Like if you come down,
Okay.
yeah,
So
keep going down.
you want which one? The
Just the resource group, like
content.
whichever RG.
This one.
Yeah, go to that container registry. Yeah,
You want to go to
the third
container
one.
register.
Third one. Yeah, just see if your
And
images are
this
there.
is
Come down.
where is it?
Repositories.
Repositories. And in repositories.
So there is your web spa. That's
Yeah.
so it's there.
Yep.
So
Yep.
okay. Then I think you may have to describe it and see why exactly this is failing, because it should be your code then. Because that means it is
Yeah.
built successfully and it is not deployed, right? Like it got into container registry.
Yep.
So
Well, this script has run. Yeah, this script has run as of now.
okay.
So this is the app configuration. So we have created the app configurations, and this is the endpoint which we are going to use. Um, so let me do this
Copy
first.
it fully till the endpoint.
Yeah, that's
Not no 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 no. All the way. Not that,
yeah, I
not
did.
that. Go all the way. No, no, no. Including the endpoint.
Oh, you want including endpoint?
Yes, yes, yes. That's a key. So you always need that. You might have done that as a mistake previously.
Yeah,
So if you go,
maybe. And just your code here. I go to the deployments. I go to KDS, and where we need to do this WebSpar templates config map,
Mhm.
and
So
then
there,
here
yeah, yeah,
there is app config endpoint, and we need to
replace that. Put it in semi. Yeah,
just replace this one with this
yes.
and this
Close the.
closed.
No, no, no. The last one. Yes.
Yeah, I did that. So
So
this is how
yeah.
it is.
Save
Cool.
that. Okay.
Done.
Now you need to make the code changes to incorporate app config endpoints. So
Yeah.
that's again straightforward, just like how we did
And
right
by the
now.
way, let me show this as well. There is this one. This is the app configuration, right?
Correct.
So this is what it got created. We'll come back to this when we start doing this. Okay, so we have this code we are doing for app configuration, which is done. Endpoint is done. We have enabled it. We go and feature enable the
Yeah.
feature flag in
By
the
the
app
way, this
configuration.
we should never do this way. We should always use a key vault, something where you can securely store the connection string. We're just doing this for the demo purposes. Uh, again, because adding key vault and doing it again would be more scripts and harder to learn. So that's why we omitted those things.
So
But in reality, you should be using them.
bunch of things you can do here configuration perspective. So here is the feature management.
Yeah.
So we just go here, create a new, and we say enable feature flag for coupon, right?
Yeah.
Coupons. Is this correct? C capital on there. I'm
Um,
thinking so.
yeah.
Coupons. Yep. So label, we are not using any labels, but you can enable that if you want to do it when different geos, or you want to enable some tags and make sure that you deploy it on, probably you can use it for CI/CD and other things. So we are not doing this filter as well. So
Mhm.
let's just go and apply.
Can you do a
Again,
control C on that bash? Because I'm highly doubtful that you can edit the code right now when it is building.
this one.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Kill that
we need
thing.
to.
Does it work?
It
Okay.
stopped.
Yeah.
Anyways, forget it. So we
Yeah.
have this setup. This is there, and we have to enable app configuration
Yeah.
package on the web spa, right? So let's go
Correct.
do that. Let's go to here and do it in here because this is where we are
Mhm.
configuring it. So uh, just run the script here.
Yeah. So what this is going to do is, again, this is a library from the Azure App Configuration. So all that you need is to add this package. So this will give you an iConfiguration provider. So it'll have those helper methods to configure your .NET app to connect to the Azure App Configuration this time. So the previous example, which we were not able to do the demo, was very simple. Like you change config map within the Kubernetes YAML, we redeploy the Helm chart. It is going to see how we're going to pick that configuration value from the environment variable, and then enable disable based on that is nothing but toggle. So here in this one, what we're trying to do here is we are we are using the Azure App Configuration this time. We're not using the Kubernetes config map. Instead, we're showing how you can centrally store it at one place, and within the ASP.NET Core code, you can actually write that code to connect to the Azure App Configuration. So now you can go and write those code, Vivek. So it's in,
Yep.
you need to go to the web spa program.cs and then copy this thing.
They're still
Um,
executing.
yeah, that's okay. That's just adding a CS project. So that's fine.
Yep.
You can go to the web spa and then um,
So web spa need to be
program.cs.
program.cs here. Add application code, right?
I'll take
Where
one
we are in
question
add
from. Yeah, is this a one-off show or a series? It is a series. So we've been doing this from quite some time. We've been talking about microservices in general. Today we are talking about feature management and app configurations. The feature flags topic is just one of it. Like we are just touching just this one for in this episode. But also this is a learn module you can go ahead and try it for yourself.
Yeah, I've pasted
Um,
this one.
okay. So yeah, basically you can see that what we're doing is you're also setting the time span, like how often do you want to poll? That's the 5 seconds. So when the cache is expired, it is going to hit the app and app configuration. Um, um, so yes, I know Jeff Fritz, and he we both are in the same team. So good to know that you're using his beard there. I'll let him know. Thank you. Um, okay, so yeah, and we are actually configuring the refresh to go and fetch this endpoint, right? Um, okay, so that's and then did you add that to?
Startup script, no? We need to
Yeah,
add user configuration there.
yeah,
Ah, startup script.
yeah. I think today
Um,
there's some issue with the Cloud Shell. It's taking too long. Startup.cs.
user, this one only. Use Azure App Configuration.
Hmm.
I don't want to make mistake here. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. It's just there.
Yep. Done. So I think I did edit that,
And
and I
in the
need to add
config
this
services method, yes.
service. Yes. Config service. So I'll go here. Where is config service?
Yeah.
It should be somewhere down.
Yeah, I think that's
No?
correct. I felt I needed beard to be a proper developer. I think Vivek, you should also grow some beard, maybe. Um,
Config.
I wish I could do it like Jeff Fritz, like having a more like a
Config
minimal beard,
service.
maybe. It's a good point.
Am I missing
Okay,
something?
so
Config service. Okay,
yeah,
here.
mhm,
This one, right? Here.
Yeah, just add
under
one
config
more.
service. So
Good.
is this semicolon right, Nish?
Yeah, you're good.
Do we need it? Okay, good.
Yeah,
I'm good with semicolons. Good.
right.
Perfect. So let's go and do the build.
Yeah, but do you see the
And
CLI? Um, why is the CLI so slow today? Right?
no, oh yeah, this is still running. I don't know
Yeah.
why.
That's just weird. Do you want to start a fresh session? Can you do one thing? Can you go to the CS project and see if it's just open the, don't close it yet. Go to the CS project of the web spa in the code and write in the code, like open the code, go into web spa, come down, like
Oh,
you'll
it's
have a,
running now.
okay, there it is. Yeah, there it is. It's so slow today.
Yes, it could be my network issue as well.
Yeah, but this is all running on the cloud. So
Yeah.
the only network that is taking is your
Oh
copy
yeah.
and pasting thing.
Yep. Sometimes you forget, right?
Yeah. Can you open the CS project like a little bit?
Yeah. The web spa. Which one?
Yeah, good. Go down. Keep going down. Dot CS project. Yeah,
This
there
one.
you go. Yeah. And come down. Yeah, it's going to be a long. Yeah, there you go. Package references. Just see if that ASP Net Core go up. Yeah, there. Go a little up. Yeah, it's added actually. So that's what I wanted. If you see a 69, line 69, Microsoft.Azure App Configuration or ASP Net Core. So as long as that line is added, that's what we need.
Okay. Okay.
So
So let
you
me.
should
Should we
technically be
wait?
able to run an ACR on this.
Let me do it here then. In the other session which we had. Anyways.
Yeah.
So we are in the right path.
Mm-hmm.
So we just need to go and build this code now.
Yeah. Build to
It should
ACR.
run.
Yeah, this time we need to just watch for like making sure that
Yeah.
it's basically pushing it in the right place.
Cool. So we have just done that. Hopefully this is. Why it is taking so much time?
It's all weird, man. It's
Maybe it also requires some samosas.
no. I
And this
think
is the time.
maybe it's trying to. No. I feel the .NET build also took a little bit of time previously, right? This could be
Yeah.
because it's trying to restore packages and then it is not able to get. So let me see the status of Nuget. Because
This is going to also take some time.
okay, there's an issue with Nuget, so I can see it. So this is something, if you didn't know, you can go to status.nuget.org, and apparently there are some issues there.
Oh.
It says browsing the gallery website is degraded, but other things are working. Not sure.
Demo gods, huh?
It's probably that. But in that case, even the ACR build, whatever it's doing, that also will have issues.
Yeah. Because when
Right?
it was building, it would, a couple of packages is installs.
Yeah.
So maybe that was
I mean,
also an issue.
it's gonna do the same .NET build there too within the Docker. So I this is just weird. It says the restore is operational on the V3 API. So let's see. Yeah.
So until then, any questions, please do let us know. And we are happy to answer those questions.
Anyway, so I think let me see my portal. Yeah, we can take more questions if you have any. It's Okay. It's all weird. I'm not even able to hit my URLs in the cloud. Okay, cool. So, so what's that? We are still at the npm build.
Still going on. By the way, while we are waiting for this, let me share the Top Skill Challenge link where you can find this module as well. And you can try it in your own pace. Here is the Cloud Skill Challenge. There's the link.
Okay. I think, you know what? I think, so whatever code changes you did, Vivek, I think I have an,
Running setup.
so I have a running setup so we can see that. So if you want to pull my screen into the stream.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, okay, the screen is like, let's let's fix this. I hope I can fix it live, right? It's going to respond to that, I guess. Let's see, 225%. Okay. Is it better? Yeah, I think this should be. So basically whatever Vivek showed, it's all done and deployed here. So you can see that there is this coupons. This is a feature that, again, Vivek added, and I can do enable, disable. So based on that, if I go here, and if you can see this feature name equals coupons, which I need to open in a new browser because of the cache issues, or I can clear the cache and connect as well. So you can see that, right now it says enabled equals false, name is coupons. And if I go into my eShop and containers, back in the screen, I go to login, copy and paste this username and password, login, and then add some items to the cart. And then if I go into checkout, and if you see there's because that coupon feature is disabled, I don't see that coupon, the UI itself. So that's going to disable. So what we're going to do is we're going to enable that. So all I'm going to do is, this is my backend. Think of it like me, the super powered user. I'm going to click on enable, yes. And as you see, you remember there's a 5-second timeout for Azure App Configuration. So after 5 seconds, if you go and refresh the the features URL, which in this case this one, and refresh it, and you can see that it automatically became true. So that means now it should start responding. So if I go back to my screen where I was here, and if I refresh, I really should come, but there are chances that it may not reflect there because of the cache issues within the web spy application. So what I can do is, instead I can go ahead and let's remove these things, or let's remove these stuffs and just click on logout, and I'm going to open this under a new guest URL here, and if I just click on login again, we'll just do this process again. This is because there's cache request. You can actually implement those refresh, cache this one, but we didn't do any of those things yet. So there you go. So I'm going to do 3 items. Click on checkout, and now if you look at, you can see that that coupon is enabled, and all that I did was I did not make any code changes. They were just configuration changes, and then that reflected it, right? So yeah, that's what we wanted to show behind the scenes. So you have this kind of the superpower behind the scenes, like, so you can actually have these configurational changes and behind the scenes using app configuration, and you can use feature management to toggle these features. So it could be various reasons you would want to toggle it. It could be by geolocations, it could be by users, or it could be for various different things, right? You can choose how do you want to toggle this, right? Yeah, I think Vivek, it's a good that we always do this. Vivek does the starting point, and I always have the end point set up so that if something goes in between, we can always fall back and show you what exactly needs to be done. So I think one quick tip here is if you're trying this module at home, try and complete this. It takes about an hour to complete it. Try and complete it at short, but otherwise sometimes there are chances for if your Cloud Shell gets disconnected, maybe some environment variable we will not be able to read it again. That could be the issue, but we will check that out and try and fix them if that exists. If not, this should be a straightforward thing, Vivek. I think it should be. I don't know if it's a NuGet restore or something of that sort, which may be failing, right?
Yeah, I mean, maybe there's some issue with the
Mhm.
Nuget itself. So, anyways, this is part of this Cloud Skill Challenge. So the module is part of this. So you can just go to this link and take this QR code, and you can execute yourself. Not just this specific learn module which we were talking about, the previous sessions. You can execute and also watch our videos on demand as well on the YouTube channel which we have, and also you can execute the next set of sessions as well and come back here and ask questions to us as well.
Yeah, that's true. All right.
Cool.
So let's wrap this up. I think we are way ahead, way over the time. So,
Yes.
as
No
always,
worries.
it's again casual conversations. We chat evenings. We generally like this is something Vivek and I do to just learn. Vivek is a newcomer to .NET, so he tries to spend his time trying to understand .NET. So we thought we'll make that into a show, and then we try and execute these modules live, so you can see all the failures that are happening live and how we recover from it too, right? So as always, great chatting with you, Vivek, and thank you everyone for joining us, and really, really appreciate your time here.
Thanks all. Thanks Nish. Thanks Rashmita. Take care. Bye bye.